You walk into a room, and suddenly you become aware of your hands, how you're standing, where you're looking, whether your voice sounds normal. You call it shyness, but what if you're not shy at all? What if you're just watching yourself too closely? And what happens to a person who never stops watching?
It doesn't feel dramatic. It feels small. You rehearse texts before sending them. You replay conversations after they end. You adjust your laugh depending on who you're with. You don't feel socially anxious in a loud, obvious way. You just feel monitored, like there's a quiet camera inside your head tracking everything. Psychology calls this self-focused attention, when attention turns inward instead of outward. Instead of noticing the room, you notice yourself in the room. Instead of listening fully, you're evaluating how you're being perceived. Over time, this changes your identity. You stop asking, "What do I think?" and start asking, "How do I look?" Decisions become slower. Spontaneity disappears. Relationships feel slightly performative. And here's the quiet contradiction. You think self-monitoring protects you, but it slowly erases you. So why does your brain do this?
You are not broken. You adapted. Self-monitoring is not a personality flaw. It's a survival strategy. At some point, your brain learned that being observed mattered. Maybe you were criticized often. Maybe approval felt conditional. Maybe small mistakes had big consequences. So your nervous system made a decision. Watch yourself carefully. It's safer. In personality psychology, this relates to high self-consciousness and sometimes to traits shaped by social evaluation sensitivity. It's not weakness, it's protection. But protection can become overprotection, and that's where things change.
Let's make this simple. Your brain has two modes in social situations: experience mode and evaluation mode. Experience mode is outward, it's engaged, it's present. Evaluation mode is inward, it scans for errors. When you self-monitor excessively, your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for self-control and analysis, stays highly active. At the same time, your social threat system, especially the amygdala, becomes alert to possible judgment. Cause: past experiences of criticism or unpredictability. Mechanism: heightened internal monitoring to prevent mistakes. Result: reduced spontaneity and increased mental fatigue. It's like trying to dance while watching yourself in a mirror the entire time. The mirror isn't evil, but you can't move freely if you never look away. And here's the deeper cost. The more you monitor, the less authentic feedback you receive, which keeps the fear alive. So how do you gently shift out of evaluation mode without forcing confidence?
Not by being confident, but by retraining attention. 1. Shift from self to task. What to do? In conversations, focus on one external detail: the other person's eye color, tone shifts, or specific words. Why it works? Attention is limited. When directed outward, it reduces activity in self-referential brain networks, like the default mode network. Example: instead of thinking, "Do I sound weird?" you think, "What emotion just changed in their voice?" 2. Allow one imperfection. What to do? Intentionally leave one minor flaw uncorrected, a slightly messy sentence, or unedited text. Why it works? Exposure reduces threat sensitivity. The amygdala learns that small mistakes don't lead to catastrophe. Example: send the message without rereading it 5 times. Let your nervous system gather new evidence. 3. Use the 10% rule. What to do? Express yourself 10% more than feels comfortable. Why it works? Gradual behavioral expansion rewires prediction models in the brain. Safety gets recalibrated slowly. Example: if you normally hold back opinions, share one small, honest thought. Not everything, just 10% more. 4. Post-interaction limit. What to do? Set a 2-minute timer after social interactions. Reflect briefly, then stop. Why it works? Rumination strengthens neural loops. Time limiting interrupts reinforcement. Example: after a meeting, reflect for 2 minutes, then redirect attention physically. Stand up, move, change rooms. These aren't confidence tricks, they're attention training, and attention shapes identity.
Think of your mind as having a spotlight. Where the spotlight goes, your sense of self grows. If it constantly shines on flaws, you become a collection of corrections. If it shifts outward, you become a participant. You don't need to destroy the mirror. You just need to stop living inside it. Self-monitoring kept you safe once, but safety is not the same as freedom. And freedom begins when you risk being slightly unedited. You were never too quiet. You were careful. Careful with your words. Careful with your presence. Careful with being seen. But maybe being seen doesn't require perfection. Maybe it just requires presence. The next time you walk into a room and feel the camera turn on inside your head, pause and gently look outward instead. Not to perform, just to experience, because the person you're trying to protect is the same person who deserves to feel free.